Well, good morning, all. This is Patricia, and I am traveling for history. On today's show, I have a wonderful topic of must-know programs available at your local library. Now, I am talking about the United States, and many of these programs, some of these programs are not available in all libraries, but then again, you can call your library and ask. In order to access them, you must have a library card. Fun fact, when I moved to my new city, first thing I did was go to the Department of Motor Vehicles to change my address, and second thing I did was go to the library to get my library card. So, let's talk about libraries, shall we? So, when I think of a library, probably like most folks, particularly in my age group, think of books, first and foremost. And in fact, also a fun fact, the word library, the L-I-B-R part, comes from the Latin word liber. It's a form of that word, which means book. And the suffix A-R-Y means containing. So, containing books. Ta-da! But they segue. The library segued from books to include things like music, so cassettes and CDs, initially cassettes and then CDs, movies and TV shows, which were originally on VHS and then changed to DVDs, and then books, which were initially audiobooks that were initially on cassette and then CDs. The two of those, books and movies, can actually are also streaming now and available at likely at your local library. So one thing that they have that's pretty new, and the only reason I ever heard of it was because I am participating in my library's summer reading program, which is a bingo card this year. And this one here that has an X through it says, check out an item from our library of things. Library of things. What on earth is that? In fact, I went to a librarian to say, hey, what is that? Well, the library of things consists of items that are even more interesting. And I took this photo myself at my own library. Consists of games, muffin tins. On the right there, on that first shelf down, it shows those humongous silver-colored things are cupcake tins, muffin tins, things you don't want to have to store in your own cabinet, that's for sure. They have healthcare items. Now, if you look to the right between the cabinet and the shelf, that is a set of crutches right there. Adjustable, good for just about everyone. That black thing rolled up on the ground, that is a yoga mat. They had some other yoga items as well. I don't do yoga, but interesting stuff. They also have a blood pressure cuff, and that might have been checked out when I filmed this or photographed that. And my personal favorite beyond compare are the electronic items, and that's that first shelf on the top to the left. Let me run through some of the items in there because I was just, I was giggling to myself. So on that shelf, they had, if I say the word projector, I'm going to bet that most people are thinking of the kind you plug into your computer and project on the wall that way. And they had one of those. But the one on that top shelf, which made me giggle and think, who is going to use that? And it's on the far left there. It's you can use a 35 millimeter film strip in there. Holy cow. I used one. Oh my gosh, I was a work study at the University of Vermont. When I was pulled in, you know how they have on all those job applications and other things as they come up? Well, that was mine. I was pulled in to run the projector, and the only thing you need to know, the only two things that matter, are making sure the film strip is actually threaded in and running properly and the light is on. But what a hoot to see one of those things. The one that's on the right there that's also brown, that's a slide carousel. Think PowerPoint with slides. And if you're not careful, it could be backwards or upside down in the carousel. This was the technology that was available when I was at UVM, and imagine other people as well. Probably gathering dust in some warehouse at UVM too. And the two things sitting on top of it, those are two carousels that you put onto it. They're circular. And that item in the center, a cassette player. Now I know from another visit they had a Walkman that played cassettes. Do you even know what a cassette is? Well, actually my demographic does. But a cassette is came before CDs. It's how you would record whatever you wanted to record onto it, music, talk, what have you. And that cassette player in the center there is a different kind of cassette player. This is the rectangular kind that has a handle on it. I tell you, if someone comes in your house who's not supposed to be there, you whack them upside the head with that thing, and you're not going to have another problem with them. They're heavy. And I'm going to actually take that out pretty soon. I have two cassettes that I want to listen to again. I do actually have a few music cassettes, but I don't have a way to play them at home. And it'll be fun to hear my sister talking. My sister is 46 now, but when she was 2 3/4 years old, because she would say that she was 2 3/4, she would just, babble on as toddlers do. And I recorded her doing just that, and it's pretty fun. It historically has been pretty fun to listen to it. I think she'd like to hear it too, so I can digitize it for her. And the other thing I want to digitize is between 96 and 99, I recorded a conversation I had with a 96-year-old woman who clearly is gone now. But I was curious about the business her father had, and she was talking all about what it was like to be there in her childhood, and it was a lovely conversation. I'd like to hear that again. What other great things do they have at the library that you must know about? They have something called Canopy. That's spelled with a K. Kanopy. It has 2 bits I want to make sure you know about. So the great courses on Canopy. The great courses, I absolutely love the great courses. I think you would too if you're into, I don't care what you're into. They have a topic on it. That is college courses, university courses that a professor has put together. And the professor who put it together is the one who's reading their notes so you can hear them. So of the ones listed there, I listened to The Other Side of History, which is daily life in the ancient world. Outstanding. First of all, I really liked the narrator's voice. It was Professor Robert Garland. And it was such fun information, and he's just so interesting. So I can highly recommend that course. And again, free. It's a streaming service. And it's only available through your library. It's not available otherwise. So get your library card and plug in the number, and you can watch videos that are what's the word I'm looking for? They are unabridged and no commercials. No commercials. Imagine that. No commercials. Now, they also have documentaries, which is certainly my thing, as you likely know. But they also have a whole variety of movies as well. Comedies, dramas, romance, thrillers, westerns. I was really happy to see that they have the original version of The Magnificent Seven. How fun is that? They also have some Broadway shows. Those are movies, but yeah. So fun stuff. But Canopy, quite nice, quite interesting. And documentaries, certainly, you don't have to have a subscription to Hulu, for instance, or even Netflix. Netflix if you want modern stuff, but and Hulu for modern stuff too. But if you want to listen to older older movies, or excuse me, watch older movies or watch older documentaries, then why not go with Canopy? Because it's, what is the word? What is my favorite word in the English language? Free. So that's an awesome service. You have to have a good internet connection or it will go blurry. And if it goes blurry, it's because of the internet connection. That's the first thing you should check. Also at the library are museum passes. So certainly my library has an interesting assortment. Now, not all will give you free admission, but a reduced admission is still better than paying full price every day of the week. Now, one thing I'll say about the Ethan Allen Homestead is that if you have a current Vermont ID, you get it for free anyway. But you could still take it out and help out a friend. So it's fabulous. It's fabulous. And you can certainly check with your library to see which passes they have. It's great stuff. Because who doesn't like to go to a museum? Well, actually, I suppose there are some who don't, but for free, maybe you can drag a friend who may not like a museum overall, because free is good every day of the week. One of my favorites, and the one I use the most of the group I'm talking about specifically right now, is the State Park Pass. Now, understand if you live in Massachusetts, state parks are actually free to get into, so they don't offer a free state park pass. You may probably pay for parking, though. But here in Vermont, state parks cost money to get into, and these are for day use only. I want to be clear about that. It's just for day use. So, and isn't that a fun thing to see in the front? And it says on there, is free entry into state park day use areas up to 8 people in one vehicle. So technically, my car will seat 7. Sort of like those 1950s phone booths, I would think. But yeah, see, right there. So if you could cram 8 people into your car, everyone can get in for free. Now, I've been to some state parks just to walk the trails, but they're also good for the Vermont State Park historic sites and state historic sites. Where have I been? I've been to Chimney Point historic site, excuse me, in Addison, Vermont. You can watch any one of my videos on that. I have several on my channel. Because it's not just the building itself; it's the grounds. It's there's a boat launch down below. You can access all of it, I've also been to the Justin Morrill Homestead, which I've been there twice. It's so good. It's down in Stratford, Vermont. That place is so amazing that I went the first time with one friend. It was awesome. And then I said to another friend, we have to go. I know you're going to love it. And we went, and she also loved it. So I also have a third friend I've already talked about going there with. It's worth the drive from here, from I'm in Burlington right now. It's about a 2-hour drive on the highway. But it's fantastic. Now, I should note, by the way, that for the museum passes and the state park pass, that if you don't return it when it's due, you get to take it out for one day. Fun fact, though, did you know that if you take it out the day before a holiday, you technically get to use it for 2 days? Or if it's a long weekend, my library is open on Saturdays and not Sundays. So if that's the case, you could, I have used it on Saturday and Sunday. And the first time I took it out was the Friday before Memorial Day weekend. My library was closed Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So I used it 3 times out of those 4 days. Fantastic. But you want to note that there's a $5 per day late fee, and then if you lose the doggone thing, it's a $50 replacement fee. Ouch. pretty painful. And understand, too, that if you just bought the pass, it would be $30. So, as of the filming of this video, of this show. But you want to keep that in mind. That's true for the museum passes as well, that if you don't return it when it's due back, they hit you with a $5 fee. And I could see, and there's a replacement fee for any one of those too, probably $50. I don't have that in front of me, I don't know. But just be mindful of that. Don't lose it. In fact, the most recent state park I went to, I wanted to walk the trail again, and the park ranger said, "Wow, I don't see many of these." And I've heard that almost everywhere I've been. Wow, I haven't seen this. This is the first time I've seen this. I've never seen this before. Take these things out and use them. Make sure park rangers can't say that anymore. But I had inadvertently left it with the park ranger, and if he hadn't called out to me, I would have left it there, which would have meant going back and getting it. Since I have some time left, there's one more program that I use all the time. It's the one program I use the most at my library, and that is the Interlibrary Loan Program. Outstanding. Now let's say you want to read a book that they don't have on the shelves. Now for me, for instance, I wanted to read the book on the history of Ruby, Arizona, because I visited Ruby, which is a ghost town, back in February of this year. And in fact, what's interesting is that it is now closed to the public. So I'm hoping they're going to reopen it, but the book is out of print, and there's no reason why any Vermont library would have that, right? It's an Arizona thing. So I asked for an interlibrary loan on that. Now understand, there's no guarantee that they can get that, any book that you request, because the books that are out of print are very hard to get. And some libraries don't want to share those kinds of books as an interlibrary loan book because they're out of print and they can't get them again. Or the out of print price is outlandishly expensive. So we understand that, right? Yeah, I'm sure we do. Sometimes I ask for a lot of Vermont history books, imagine that. And they've gotten every one of my Vermont history book requests. It takes about a 30-day turnaround for that, and you get the benefit of my extra knowledge on something as I share in a video as I'm filming out and about. Or I can add more information, and sometimes even a book recommendation that you should really read this because of X, Y, or Z. In fact, I discovered that one book I had read as an interlibrary loan book, which was a bit daunting, 2 columns per page. And each time I see that, I have flashbacks of reading those kinds of books in college, which all of those books were dull as dishwater. Dull, boring, God. So I have flashbacks of that. But actually, the book was very interesting, and but not for everyone. Nerds like me, yeah, sure. But still, very interesting book. But the thing is, I discovered it's actually available to read for free online. I didn't know that until I returned it because I was looking to see if I wanted to buy it, but it's out of print. It's very expensive. So, excuse me, I'm talking so much my mouth is dry. So, but it is available for free online to read. All of it, the entire thing, from the introduction to the bibliography. Crazy. So if your library offers that, why not use it? Especially if they don't have it on their shelves. Now, I was thinking about some things also. So for the library things, I wanted to go back for that, touch base with that again for a moment, is since I needed to check something out, again, because of the bingo card. Where was it again? Here. It's right here. What did I check out? I checked out the Vivitar digital camera. And I didn't just check it out because I needed to check something out for the bingo card. I wanted to see if a digital camera would make sense to use out and about. And no, it would not. It's heavy. I mean, it took lovely pictures, certainly better than my phone can ever. And it had it certainly not only took pictures, but you could film videos. But it was heavy, and I wouldn't want to use that. If I were just using it from home, that would be great. But note that that also had a daily fee if you didn't return it. That may have been $5. But the replacement cost for any of those library so for any of those library things, there's a replacement cost for any one of those items. The replacement cost for the Vivitar digital camera, are you sitting down? I'm glad I am. $500 for a replacement fee. So whatever you're borrowing, just note that you don't lose it. Don't lose this stuff. Don't damage this stuff. Now, one thing I would recommend, by the way, is something I did, and what I recommend for you to do is to take a photograph of what's in the box, so to speak. And it was actually in a plastic case, which was great. It had a zillion pieces to it. So I took, as I said, a couple of photographs before I checked it out. And I told the woman I was going to do that, which she thought was a great idea too. Not only is that great to remember to look at it and see, oh, what else do I need? Is this it? Is that it? Oh yeah, okay, everything's in the box. Or, oh, I'm missing something. Where is it? It's better to have that heart attack at home and not at the library counter. It's also good to take another photograph when you're about to return it to make sure that everything's in there, that you can show that when you returned it, everything was in the box. I mean, most of those pieces were black and really hard to really hard to see if you drop it on the floor. Oopsie. I mean, they have, I think, gray carpeting there. So it'd be easy to miss a black piece. But you can see the huge array of items. At that one, so you can see the yoga mat. I pointed out earlier the round thing, the round black thing on the right. That black rectangle square item, that's a quilting kit. For their tools, they also have tools there, things like gardening tools and including a pole hole digger, a post hole digger. I don't know why that entertains me so much, but it does. It's sort of something you'd only need periodically, right? What else did they have? Oh, the other tool thing, they have like a toolkit, the kind of stuff that you would just use on a regular basis, a hammer or a screwdriver, pliers, stuff like that. They also had, I want to say they had a socket set, too. So certainly use those as well. That's how I used to take the battery out and bring it into the house to warm it up overnight. So it's great stuff. Yeah, exercise equipment. They do take donations, by the way. So if you are interested in donating something to them, you can contact your library, if they have a library of things, and say, hey, is this something you would like? Now, the Library of Things, in case you're curious, started actually in England. So I'd be interested in, if you put in the comments below what they have at your library, wherever it is in the world. I know I have an international audience, so share. Let's talk about that. So it's amazing the stuff they have. They even have a metal detector, something I've always wanted to try. I didn't see it there when I was there recently, but they I think a metal detector would be fun to use. And they do say, which I think should be obvious, but just a reminder, that you need to return it in a great condition the way you got it. So that's for the interlibrary loan books. That's certainly for that's for anything you borrow. You wanted to take it back in the same condition you got it. So this is essentially part one of all the fabulous must-know library programs. I keep discovering things. A lot of things are streaming. I don't have a lot of information on the one for the music and the books, but next time I will. But my library doesn't have a way to stream music, so I guess I'm still paying for that. But still, these are certainly things that that you could use and certainly enjoy. I mean, the great courses alone, there's plenty to watch on there. For not just for adults, like not just the movies for adults, but they have movies for children too, and cartoons and TV shows and whatnot. So, you know, you can keep your kids entertained as you entertain yourself. So, it's a win-win. Now, for my library, I asked them, hey, do you have a library version of audiobooks? Because if you watched my videos when I talk about book recommendations, most of those books I've listened to on audible.com. No, this is not a sponsored video, but Audible, if you're listening, let's talk. And the woman said yes, and I think it's Libby, but I will double check that. And then in the same breath, she said, but they don't have a lot of nonfiction like you read. First of all, I was floored that she knew that I read nonfiction primarily, but there you go. So you want to see what your library has. But the fact that Canopy is only available through libraries, which is free and has no commercials. No commercials, people, no commercials. Who wants to watch a commercial? I don't. Or an ad? I don't. It's just pure information, entertainment, because it's not just these. They have a whole host of topics that you can enjoy. It's amazing, and I love to learn new things. I love to learn more about stuff I already know about. So it's all good, and it's all free. Library card is free as well. I know for mine, when I call to see if the State Park Pass is available, their first question is, do you live in yada yada town? Yes. Do you have a library card? Sure do. And then, you know, they will let me know if the Park Pass is available. So don't be surprised if they ask you that question as well. But anyway, but look at the time. We've gone through another 30 minutes this month. Lordy May. Well, as I say at the end of practically all my YouTube videos, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. This is Patricia, and I am traveling for history. And until I see you again, I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. Bye now.